Wait, what's that? That rock looks familiar. Nico, take a look at this and tell me what you see.
You're right. That rock looks like a head.
I've seen that shape before. Take a look at this. The face in the Ouroboros, it's exactly the same shape as that rock.
That can't be a coincidence.
And you know what? Langham's got the forged picture, the one without the face.
So the rock won't have meant anything to him.
Nico, I don't think the tabula's up at the monastery. I think it's down there somewhere, around that rock. Come on, Nico. Pearl's giving me the code to the door.
What? Pearl? Who? How?
Trust me, Nico. I've got friends in low-hanging places. Huh. There's no one here.
Looks like everything has been shut down.
Help!
A metal lunchbox. Someone sure wanted to keep their cheese safe.
Hey, is anybody there?
Whoa! Did you hear that?
We're stuck in here. Help!
How about that, Nico? A talking lunchbox. Huh. What will they think of next? I better take it with me. The cable cars were scheduled to run all day. The control panel looked complicated. It wasn't powered up, and the smell of burnt electrical components hung ominously in the air. The cogs turned, but the rest of the mechanism didn't seem to be engaging. The console circuitry looked pretty complex and dangerous. There was no lock, but the door wouldn't open.
Go away!
Hello?
Georges? There's someone in there.
Are you all right in there?
Just go away.
The box was now wedged in the cogs, or rather, the giant can opener.
That's quite a mess you've made there, Georges.
You know what they say about making omelets, Nico?
You can't make them without strawberry jam?
Well, I'd done stranger things in my life. The paperclip was now all sticky. Just as I thought, it's a two-way radio.
Can anyone hear me?
Dwayne, this is George. George Stobart.
Holy cow, George, just the fella I need. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, Dwayne. And don't you worry, I'll have you out of there in a minute.
You reckon you can get the cable car running again?
No, the console isn't working properly. I've got no idea why not.
George, this is Pearl. Get Kat to help you. She knows everything about that place.
Kat? Is she the girl in the closet?
Has she locked herself in? Oh, dear. Let me talk to her, darling.
Kat? I found you a friendly voice.
How do you know my name?
Kat, dear, it's me, Pearl.
Pearl? How did you get here? That's not possible.
Listen, darling, it really is me. But I'm talking on the radio. George here is a very decent guy, and you should open the door.
I'm not going to fall for that. Prove it's you.
All right. Remember we discovered we both love musicals?
Yeah? And my favorite one is?
How does it go now? Help out. I am the very model of a modern major general.
Of information, vegetable, animal, and mineral.
I know the kings of England and I quote the fights historical.
From Marathon to Waterloo in order categorical. I'm very good in integral and differential calculus.
I know the scientific names of beings and homunculus.
In short, in matters vegetable, animal, and mineral.
I am the very model of a modern major general.
All right, only Pearl would know that, and I trust her. Who are you?
I'm George, and this is Nico. How did you end up in a closet?
There were some guys with guns. They took over the whole station. I hid in here.
We're trying to avoid them too.
I was quite surprised, you know. They never mentioned guns at the job interview.
Really? We need to use the cable car. Can you operate it?
Yeah, if the console was working, but they sabotaged it.
And there's no way to get it started?
There might be. Let me see. See that burned out fuse down there?
In the back by the prongs?
Yeah. The idiots stuck a spanner in there and blew the fuse. They wanted to make sure no one could use the cable cars. Connect those two prongs somehow, and the console should restart.
How on earth are we going to reach that?
I don't know. But don't stick your arm in there. You'll get fried.
I stuck the paperclip to Trevor's back. I bet he could work in an office now. Time for Trevor. I put his matchbox down. Go, Trevor, go! Poor Trevor looked like he needed therapy, but the console was working. The console, it's working.
Cool. I can send you down there if you want. Let me just bring the cable car up here.
Pearl and Dwayne are going to be mighty relieved.
They must have been going down in the other cable car.
Come on, Nico. There's no time to lose. As we got closer to the face in the rock, I knew for sure that we were on the right track. It was definitely the same as the face in the painting, but with one difference. The symbol of the tabula was missing from the rock formation. Well, here we are.
But no way to reach the face. Let's have a look around. There must be a way up. The door was locked with a high security padlock. No way was I going to get through there. Georges, the chapel looks like it's been built right into the rock.
You're right. We should take a look inside.
I wonder, how old do you think the chapel is?
I'm guessing the exterior's a couple of 100 years old, but the inside? Who knows? Some parts could be much older.
You think somehow this chapel might be connected to the face in the rock?
At a guess, I would say so. Hey, look! It's Pearl and Dwayne.
Come on, honey bun. Things ain't that bad.
You just don't understand. Today's been a disaster.
But
The monastery was closed. We got stuck in the cable car. And now this place is a building site.
aw, sweetie pie.
This was supposed to be the spiritual highlight of our trip, Dwayne. But the only spirit I see is that rotten turpentine over there.
Aw, heck.
Clearly, the Hendersons weren't having a great vacation. Wood shavings. This was one building site that needed Mr. Tidy. They smelt exotic. My mother always said cleanliness is next to godliness. Great to see you again, Mr. Henderson.
Great to see you too, George. Great work back there with the cable car.
Is Pearl okay?
I wish. I'm afraid we're having one of those days where everything goes wrong.
Tell me about it. What have you been up to since we last met in Quaramonte?
Well, there was that little sideshow in Rome, but we can't talk about that. You know why, George.
I do? I do.
Why?
Top secret.
Need to know, Nico. Dwayne is, snoozer.
Don't you mean a sleeper?
No way, honey. A snoozer's at least 2 pay grades up from a sleeper. So I hear. Anyway, I don't believe I've had the pleasure, Miss,
Nicole Collar. Call me Nico.
Well, how's about that? So this is the beautiful Nico. No wonder you've been hiding her away from me, Georgie boy.
Gosh, no,
It's lovely to finally meet you too, Mr. Henderson. Georges has told me so much about you.
Oh, call me Dwayne, my dear. And let me assure you of one thing. Everything you've heard is quite possibly true.
Dwayne was loud, large, and short-sighted, but boy was he a charmer. Is there anything we can do for Pearl?
I sure as hell hope so, George. She's been planning and researching this trip for years, our little pilgrimage. And Santa Cova Chapel here was the cherry on the cake. Not a thing she don't know about this place. Madonna, blah, blah, blah. Chapel built in, yada, yada, yada. She's Santa Cova's very own walking encyclopedia. Well, weeping encyclopedia, I should say. Oh, excuse me. Pearl needs me. There, dear.
Dwayne!
George? Nico?
So what brings you to Santa Cova?
Pearl's idea from the get-go. Ever since the unfortunate car accident back home, she's been scouring those pilgrimage brochures. Gotta be full of wonder and life-changing imagery. Got to have penance potential. Got to offer a real spiritual experience.
Well, I'm sure this place will be very spiritual once it's finished.
If the chapel is not what she expected, how about the monastery?
Hot dog, no. That place is for tourists, not pilgrims.
You said she expected a spiritual experience?
No, that's what the brochure promised. Pilgrimages, little monk fellas, singing, shafts of light, the whole shebang.
Smells, bells, and heavenly lights.
Yeah, that's what the lady wanted. Oh, excuse me. Pearl needs me. There, dear.
Pearl could be a mine of information about the chapel, if we could just cheer her up. A statue of the Madonna and Child watched over the chapel. An empty, coffee-stained mug had been left by the altar. I sprayed the shavings with Brett. Delightful. I put the scented shavings in the mug. I lit the scented shavings. A sweet aroma started to fill the room. I lit the candles on the candelabra. I rested the side mirror precariously on the candelabra. I secured the mirror in place with some yarn. Now that was something. The light from the candelabra spilled over the Black Madonna like waves of spiritual goodness in candle form. The hammer produced a promising sound. A.
What are you up to?
Look, I made a Churchenspiel. B, if I wasn't mistaken. G. Well, that was fun. I poured the turpentine into the paint can. The hammer produced a promising sound. An F sharp. G. B. That sounded like an A. G. I had it. It was the tune Dwayne was humming.
George, that's Ave Maria. Let me have a go.
Wow, you really nailed that, Nico.
Yep, this mop really is pretty special. Leave this to me.
Pumpkin? Oh my!
What?
The sound of angels, the lights of heaven, the smell of piety, and
Yes?
the Madonna, I do believe. Tears. She's crying, Dwayne. The Madonna's crying. Little Timmy. Wrong side of the road. Not my fault. The broken leg. Compensation claim. Forgive me, poor Timmy.
Oh, Pearl, my precious, you're such a sensitive soul.
Well, now that's done. I feel my soul's floating on air. We can get on with our pilgrimage, Dwayne.
Just another 1,000 clicks to go.
Pearl was back to her usual cheery self. Mrs. Henderson,
George, dear boy.
how you feeling?
Oh, just fine, thank you. I have just seen a miracle, George. It's all gonna be all right from now.
I'm sure it is, Mrs. Henderson. I'm sure it is. So, Pearl, what have you been up to since we last met?
Well, George, I've been on a journey.
Oh, really? Well, what kind of journey?
A spiritual one. A journey along the road to enlightenment.
Wow. And is that what brought you here?
It is. Though Santa Cova is but one step on that road.
What's so special about Santa Cova?
It's an ancient and very holy place. I've spent the last year researching it, and I can truly say there is nothing I do not know about it.
I don't suppose you'd know anything about that rock out there?
No, only that for 1,000 years, people have claimed to see a face in its shapes.
Still, keeping busy, Dwayne?
Like the man said, George, that old kaleidoscope keeps getting shaken, and the pieces are ever in flux.
Guess it's your job to pick 'em up, huh?
Well, somebody has to do it, compadre.
I enjoyed talking to Dwayne, but I was rarely any the wiser afterwards. What can you tell me about the statue?
I read that the Black Madonna has been here since the 9th century. She's called the Virgin of Montserrat. Some say the original was moved to the cathedral. But Dwayne and I know that's just a bluff, don't we, honey?
We sure do. This one is the real McCoy.
What can you tell me about Santa Cova?
Well, dear, they call it the Chapel of the Holy Grotto. It was built directly into the mountain itself in 1696. It survived the Napoleonic Wars, mudslides, Civil War. But the chapel is still standing today. It's a miracle.
Or a restoration.
What was that, dear?
Yes, a miracle. What do you make of this?
It looks like an Ouroboros.
Oh, you recognize it? Let me show you something else. Can you tell me anything about this painting?
Oh, nothing, dear. Apart from the obvious Gnostic connotations, of course.
What?
You know, the Dominicans. All those Gnostic saints. Doubting Thomas, Judas. And you see the woman in the red cloak? The infamous Mary Magdalene herself.
A lady in red.
That's enough now, Dwayne. You know my feelings about her.
Pearl knew her Gnostic onions, all right.
Then there's the Ouroboros, of course.
Something special about it?
Well, if I remember rightly, there was an Ouroboros right here in this chapel. Back in the 30s and 40s, the chapel was renovated. The workmen uncovered numerous symbols carved in the rock. Amongst them was a fine Ouroboros.
But that's amazing. So, where is it?
Oh, it's not there now.
Oh.
It was considered blasphemous, so they plastered over it. Sweetheart, I think it's time for us to go. The road to enlightenment waits for no woman.
'Tis the pilgrim's lot, George.
It was so nice to see you again. And meet your girlfriend.
We're not.
Take this radio, Nico. Never know when you might need it. Keep an eye on our boy George here.
Poor little lost lamb.
I'm not...
Don't worry, this little lamb's in safe hands. Bon voyage.
Bye-bye, dears.
See ya. Nico, don't even start.
Little lamb?
Let's focus on the task in hand, shall we? Okay, this Ouroboros that Pearl mentioned.
You're right. We need to find it.
The wall here was made of bare rock. It looked like the chapel had been built right into it. There was a recess in the wall with a Latin word carved above it. Puritas, purity. I'd seen that word before somewhere. I thought I'd heard a faint click. I hoped this was the right thing to do. Hey, Nico, I found the Ouroboros.
So what now?
Pearl was right. The plaster had covered an Ouroboros. I knew it. Another secret passageway.
Amazing, Charles. How did you do it?
Just another case of the old Stobart magic, I guess, Nico. It looks a little dark in there.
Are you scared, Charles?
Of course not. Just worried about you tripping, that's all. Whoa, this is one dark cave.
It's the door that worries me, George.
Well, I'm sure the door will open again if we give it a minute. No need to panic. Now we panic. Help! I gotta say, Nico, you're pretty calm about this.
Traveling with you, George, I've got used to this kind of thing. If I panicked every time a door shut behind us, probably forever, well...
You're right. What was I thinking? You see if you can get the door open, and I'll go check out the dark, evil-smelling cave. Fumbling around in the dark wasn't going to be fun. But heck, I'd spent a lifetime doing it, so what was new? I had no idea what might be lurking in the darkness. It was just my mind playing tricks in the dark. I kept telling myself there was nothing there, but I found that hard to believe. For a moment, I imagined falling forever in the dark. But it was just my imagination running wild. The floor was solid. It was a small, round object made of fabric with a musty smell. It was stone, with a recess in it and, an oily liquid in it. There was some kind of thin twine in the middle of it, too. The place was really spooking me. I needed to find some light. It was a small stuffed animal of some kind. Short-haired. I guessed it was a tailless squirrel. Or perhaps a small badger? It was a flat surface like stone. It felt cold and smooth, with some indentations along the surface. A large stone bowl with some kind of oily liquid in it. My guess was it was a hat, but without light I couldn't be sure. I could feel something smooth and spherical with clumps of what felt like fur or hair. It felt cold and smooth, like worn stone. The thing had branches like a tree. I kept telling myself there was nothing there, but I found that hard to believe. The wall felt like it had something carved into it. A large stone bowl with some kind of oily liquid in it. Hey, Nico, I think I found some light. Whoa!
It must be Genan. Ramon said he disappeared while searching the mountains for the tabula.
So this is where he ended up, dead in a cave. Hole in the head dead. Decomposing for decades dead. And on closer inspection, I'd even say blown your own brains out dead.
Okay, George, I get the point. What is this place?
Who knows? But look at the Gnostic symbols.
You're right. The colors, the trees. But who is she?
It looks like the Virgin Mary, but I don't think it is.
What do you mean?
The red robes and that whole off-the-shoulder look? It must be Mary Magdalene, of course. Marquez told me that the Gnostics revered her. This place, it's some kind of Gnostic shrine.
There's got to be something to release that door. Maybe amongst these carvings.
But if it was that obvious, don't you think Guénon would have found it? Getting up close and personal to Guénon's leathery corpse wasn't pleasant, but we had to figure out how to get out of there. Guénon had certainly been busy before he blew his brains out. I wonder what he'd been up to. I picked up the old gun. It was too corroded and rusty to ever be fired again. It was a fedora, just like the one in Guénon's trunk back at the Castel. The years hadn't been kind to it. Nico!
What?
Is this what I think it is? It must be the Tabula Veritatis.
So Genan did find it.
It's so small, so innocent looking. Why would Simeon call it evil? Why so many deaths for this?
And why go to such lengths to keep it hidden?
Unless it is as genuinely dangerous as Simeon claimed.
The question now is, what do we do with it?
The photograph was of an ancient clay tablet. Guénon had written on it, Someone, presumably Gainan, had taken the time to translate the inscription. At a glance, the inscription seemed to relate to the exploits of someone called the Sun King. The symbol on the tablets looked similar to the ones etched into the face of the Tabula Veritatis. If Gainan's translation is correct, the symbol La-Ha-Shi represents the Sun City region. Gainan had marked this symbol in red with the letter A. Shi translates as Mountain Kingdom. Gainan had marked this symbol with the letter B. Du-A-Shi apparently means the Two River region. If Gainan's translation is correct, the symbol La-Ji-Shi represents the Sunset Mountain. Sounds like a theme park ride. It looks like Ku-U is the symbol for the Tabula Veritatis in this language. The symbol Ju-Ha was translated as the Young Cities. Gainan had marked this symbol with the letter E. That was almost a great idea. Almost. I prized the map out from under the arm of the corpse. It looked like Gainan had scrawled some kind of last testament onto this map. My friends, I know that you will eventually find me, but by then it will be too late. I have decoded the tabula, and I know our destiny lies in paradise. The key to the power of God is in our hands. I die secure in the knowledge that you will now be able to complete my work. Tell my family that I died doing my duty, that I surrender my life gladly to the cause. In the light of the day, these words will fade, like our souls. But rest assured that when they do, their echoes will guide us to where we will meet once again. I'm not sure, but it looks like crafty old Gainan left a secret message in his testament. It was an old water canteen. The contents had long since been drunk. When I held the map up to the flame, something started to change. The writing on the map started to react to the heat. Well, I'll be darned.
What is it?
At a guess, the locations on the map might match up with the ones he's marked on this photograph. If this letter matched the one on Gainan's translation, this must be the location of the Sun City. If the letters match the ones on Gainan's translation, this must be the Mountain Kingdom. Ex luce veritas. Out of light, truth. I'd seen the same words on the fresco at Castel de Sants. I wondered if Gainan's notes on the photograph might help me decode the tabula. That was the first row of symbols cracked. It was all starting to make sense. So, these are directions. Begin at Sun City, travel 5 days east to a river, travel south 6 days through a desert to the source of 4 rivers. Hey, Nico, I've cracked it!
Fantastic!
The Tabula Veritatis, it's a set of directions. Take a look at this map. The inscription says to start here at Sun City. Gainan hid the location in his map. It then says to travel 5 days east to a river, then turn south and travel 6 days through a desert to the source of 4 rivers.
And what is that?
I'm not sure, but it must be important, right?
Right. Important enough for the Gnostics to try and keep it a secret for thousands of years. And guess what? I think I may have found a way out.
You have?
Look, while you were busy playing Ancient Scholar, I found this.
What did it do?
I'm not sure.
It didn't open the door.
Perhaps we're missing something.
Must be. If Gainan died looking for a way out, there has to be more to it than just a hidden button.
Then let's keep looking.
The ornate lamp warranted a closer look. The medallion fitted snugly into the socket. Whoa, would you take a look at that?
The light from the medallion is illuminating this blue figure.
This could be our ticket out of here.
If you're right, that explains why Gainan never got out of here. He didn't have the medallion. That sounded like something important happened.
There were ancient scratches on the plinth, as if someone had moved the statue. I'm sure that this is Mary Magdalene.
The red robes. It all makes sense. The Madonna would be wearing blue. So, who's the child?
Well, according to the Gnostic Gospels, when Mary kissed the lips of Jesus, she,
Oh, I see.
Yep,
So the Gnostics think that the suckling child is...
I guess so. The stone door had sealed us in. No way would we have been able to prise it open. I needed a better idea.